it. Dope from the fly kid. The ice mic is back with the high lid. Suckers you lost, the players you're not. Gangsters you ain't, you faint punk if you ever heard a gunshot. Yo, the pusher, the player, the pimp, gangster, the hustler, high roller, dead press folder. It's cold lamping like a black king on a throne. Evilly, turn up the microphone so I can ill and break on the rolling tape. Another album to make. Great.
Good evening and welcome to Platter Chatter, the show that critiques and analyzes music on the cutting edge of today's scene. I'm Scott Goldfine.
And I'm Malissia Simpson, and we want to say welcome to you again. Scott, we have a very interesting show this week. We're going to be listening to Above the Law, another rap group. And we're also going to be listening to a group called the Black Crowes.
That's right, a rock group, and their album's called Shake Your Moneymaker. And we're going to wind it all up with a group that combines rap and rock appropriately.
From Amsterdam.
That's right, called the Urban Dance Squad, and their album's called Mental Floss for the Globe. This is an interesting show we have tonight, seeing as we've got 3 debut albums.
Sure. So?
Well, let's start right in with Above the Law. This is a rap group based out of Los Angeles, backed by the masterminds Dr. Dre and Eazy-E, who are behind NWA, JJ Fad, Michelle Lay, the DOC, the list goes on and on. All gold and platinum acts. I don't know if I said JJ Fad also had Supersonic. So they've definitely got the Midas touch. And this is their latest entry, Above the Law, a few rappers out of L.A. Again, with the gangster rap mentality.
Very gangsterish. So why don't you introduce it?
Okay, we're going to go to the first cut, and it is called Murder Rap. It's the single.
My name making it simple and plain. Here to rearrange and change the things that I couldn't do in the past. Don't be surprised when you got a shot. Get up your ass, perpetrators. That one was just for you. I'm gonna leave the ENC for mango without a clue. Clues to my style like a bean on coke. But if you say the wrong thing, I wash your mouth with soap. So it's not the answer, no. I'm not a cancer, no. I'm not a hero, zero, but a Leo in stereo. And this is not a demo. Chaos and go back. Keep cutting the flex tempo back.
Back in studio, you were listening to Above the Law, called Murder Rap. You know, one thing about this song, they sampled different shows, music from TV shows. This was from Ironside, old Ironside.
Right, Quincy Jones. In fact, they used Quincy as a source of their sampling inspiration on a number of tracks. What's interesting about them, they do credit the music on their record. They don't just sample it. They actually give credit to Quincy Jones, James Brown,
exactly,
and a couple of other people who they seem to really enjoy sampling.
I was wondering whether they were doing that because of all the controversy about sampling, and lawsuits that are going back and forth. I wonder if that will cut down on some of that, if they give credit to,
Well, if they're giving credit, I assume they're probably giving some kind of royalty or something as well. But as the rap groups now have gotten so big and they sell so well, that it's no big deal. They can actually pay royalties now. When they first started, they were making basement records and had no money and they couldn't afford it.
Right. So we're going to listen to another cut, and this is called Another Execution. This is by Above the Law.
Again and again, I walked up and said, "What's up?" He said, "Not you." I turned around and then I looked at my crew, because I know he didn't say what I thought he said. And if he did, I'm gonna have his head on a platter. The sucker scatter when we got ill. The brother who tried to front, he got his cap peeled. And his homies, they got mad, but they soon broke and ran because of what we had. Because I take out my weapon and I quickly start blasting. I go level like a crazy assassin. I look at my posse. They say nothing's confusing. Why?
It's just another execution. Just another execution.
Back in studio with Platter Chatter. We're listening to Above the Law, a new rap group, and that was called Another Execution. Very reggae-flavored, kind of island, influence to it, using music from Isaac Hayes, which they do on a couple of tracks as well. I think that particular track is actually the most actual, song-like track. It's got, it's got a chorus, it's got the lyrics. It's a real song.
I want to ask you a question. What is it about the song that makes you think of it as an island song? I didn't get that at all. To me, I heard James Brown, and I thought of a concert that I had seen James Brown in years ago. That's kind of what it reminded me of. An island?
It's got the rhythm, and it's got the chorus is, kind of a sing-along chorus, and just kind of sways back and forth, and it's got that Jamaican feel to it, and that's where that inspiration comes from. And there's something called ragamuffin rap, which is, mixing reggae influences and rap together, and that's become quite popular, and there's some really creative stuff being done in that area, and I think that this is their, vowing and doing one like that.
Well, that's kind of what I thought on our show last week when we did Digital Underground. I mentioned that, that it sounded kind of a reggae-like.
Right, of course.
Feeling.
Of course, I didn't see it that way, but.
Yeah, well, you never do. Well, now we're going to listen to a group.
Got to rate them.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm going to give this a 2.
A 2. Well, you know something? As much as I hate to heck to agree, I'm going to give it a 2 also.
Scott, you're agreeing with me? What's the matter with you?
I better take my temperature. The reason I'm giving it a 2 is because compared to the other work that Eazy and Dr. Dre have been behind, such as NWA, which was my pick for Best Album of last year, and Eazy-E and that other stuff, that stuff has certainly got a lot more profanity in it, but that's not what makes it better. That stuff is just a little more creative, a little more cutting edge. It's just a little sharper. This is just a little more homogenized, pasteurized type sounding, typical rap. There's only a couple songs that stand out, and the rest of it, it's just not that distinctive and not as good.
Well, I have to tell you that that's kind of what I feel about all rap music, but and you know that. But one thing that did stand out on this album was a song called Freedom of Speech. I really kind of got behind that, and that's probably the only song I did get behind, but I really liked that. And I liked what they were saying in particular,
That's certainly real popular now for rappers to get on the podium about freedom of speech, because they're saying a lot of controversial things, and it's very topical right now. We're going to move on to our next record, which is the Black Crowes. This is a new rock band out of Atlanta, Georgia, and they're creating quite a commotion on the scene, using kind of what I think their sound is a cross between the Rolling Stones, Southern rock such as Leonard Skinner, and a dash of AC/DC, and there you have the Black Crowes. Good old-fashioned rock and roll.
We're going to listen to Jealous Again, Are You? It's by the Black Crowes. Okay?
GPS that made you, paper try to gamble time. Don't you think I want to? Don't you think I would? Don't you think I'd tell you, baby, if I only could? You might acting crazy, you might just too proud, you might just plain lazy. Ever, 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 ever jealous, jealous again. All the time that I let you in, jealous, jealous again. Got no time to let you in. Oh yeah, I'm jealous, jealous again. Got no time ever to let you in. Jealous, yeah, yeah, I'm jealous again. Got no time, baby, yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Hi, you were listening to the Black Crows, a song called Jealous Again. You know what I think about this
What do you
song?
think about it?
Well, Scott, if you really want to know, I
I'm dying to know.
listen to this and I hear John Cougar Mellencamp. I like John Cougar Mellencamp. I think he's great. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, like good middle American rock and roll, some good hard riffs, but, you know, and a combination of like rock and roll and country rock mixed together.
Well, yeah, well, coming from Georgia, you know, that's not
Absolutely.
that surprising. But yeah, I can see your, you know, Mellencamp analogy. Certainly, he's not quite as hard, but it is just basic few riff rock and roll with a little keyboard piano stuck in there, and you know, it's pure rock and roll. And these guys are young, up and coming, and kind of reviving that brand of music rather than, you know, heavy metal or the, you know, main pop rock that you hear a lot of.
Sure.
So we're going to go to the next track by the Black Crows, and it is called Hard to Handle. Black Crows.
Calls the mama, I'm sure all the hand and I just around. Action speaks louder than words, and I'm a man I can't experience. I know you got another man, but I can love you better than him. Take my hand, don't be afraid, I'm gonna prove every word I say. I'm advertising love for free, so you can place your ad to me. Once I come along and down by the dozen, I ain't nothing but kissing love. Hey, little thing, let me light your candle, calls the mama, I'm sure all the hand and I just around.
Okay, we're back in studio listening to the Black Crows, and that particular track was called Hard to Handle. My particular favorite off it, and I would say, hey, put that out as a single, because it's catchy.
You think so, huh?
Oh, without a doubt. The way it breaks down there, and you got the guy singing with the music stopping, and it's real catchy.
I like the way it ends. I like
Well,
the way it ends.
unfortunately, they can't hear that. They'll have to listen to it themselves.
Well, I guess so.
The Black Crows, especially on their slower stuff, such as Sister Luck and Seeing Things, they really remind me of the Stones, particularly the Stones like Wild Horses and the kind of ballads that they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very much recalls that period.
Well, I agree with you on that. I'm going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best. I give them a 3.
Right.
Yeah, they fit somewhere not real high, not real low, just right in the middle. And I can see them really becoming the band of the future, one of the bands of the future, particularly in the 90s. I really can.
I can see it happening too. They're gaining a lot of momentum. It is snowballing, and for people who want to hear just real, bare bones kind of rock and roll. There's not a lot of soloing, not a lot of frills, but it is very cohesive, and I enjoy them. I'm going to give them a rating of 3.5.
Well, I think it's a good, solid band. They have a good, solid music, and that's what I like about it.
Okay, so that's it for the Black Crowes. We're going to move on to our final record we're going to be looking at, which is a new band coming out of Amsterdam. And there's not that much known about them yet, even by us, because they're so fresh on the scene. They created quite a stir, opening for bands such as the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Fishbone, and bands like that who they would seem to go together with well, seeing as they combine rap and rock music.
And they've been a support act for David Bowie also, which is very interesting. But we have no idea what they look like. We don't know whether they're tall, short, fat, green, yellow. So we're going to take a listen to one of their songs, and this is called Fast Lane, Urban Dance Squad.
Up in the air to get a better climb the ladder to the top, to the top, to the top. Well, big shots make the box and call the shots. And box the status is super. They hold the grudge because they're going your way beyond fast lane. Obedience to what you say. Hey, for your presence they stay the hell away. You're free, go away. Things are okay no matter what they say. That's only hearsay. The choke in the smoke. Why you consume a day? Stay ahead of the game. Clock the dames. Gain the fame. Ready to tame. Some feel the pain. Some hail your name. Dark stay lane while you're living in a fast lane. Living in a fast lane. Living in a fast lane. Yeah. Living in a fast lane. Living in a fast lane. Pedal to the metal, going fast, fast. Ferrari level, got the class. Yes, cold clocking, cash and sack. While the match hold hand up to catch. Relax, no complaint, satisfaction. No rat tape, 24-hour action. Meet the business. Get the clip, get the...
Hi, that was the Urban Dance Squad, and you were listening to Fast Lane. It's interesting that when you see the album, there's no picture on the album anywhere. And I kind of like that because you can't judge them by how they look or have any preconceived notions about how they sound.
Well, it's interesting because that's been sort of a popular ploy by the record industry to do for a number of years. When there's a group, I think, that's kind of doing a form of music that's not normally associated with their appearance. A lot of times they'll withhold actual pictures, visual images of the group until they get some notoriety. They did that in the 70s with Wild Cherry, who did play that funky music, and a number of other groups as well. That's a little trick that they pull.
It's kind of interesting. We're going to listen to another song by Urban Dance Squad. This is called Deeper Shade of Soul. Do these have any singing?
Never knew you the yes, so cool as ours. Here to fight then, they will stupefy. Ducks categorize us as hard cries. That's a lie, we know why we're occupiers. No blurs but obscure style, and these are higher. Profiles are low as soon as we go. As a free straight from a deeper shade of soul.
Okay, listen to Urban Dance Squad, and that's Deeper Shade of Soul. That was a hit single over in Europe a year or so ago when they first got it going. And interesting thing you just said about that, which I didn't even think of, and the comparison you made.
They sound like War. They sound, and that particular song, which is one of my favorite songs on the album, they sound very much like War. That type of, rhythmic, low key, but hot beat.
Percussive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. They have a very wide variety of tempos that they go throughout the album, and a lot of their titles are very curious. I've got a list of them right here, just a couple of them. Prayer for My Demo, Famous When You're Dead, the title track, Mental Floss for the Globe, Struggle for Jive, just a lot of curious titles. They're kind of humorous and they're just out there and they rock pretty hard.
So what do you think of them? How are you going to rate them?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being best, I'm going to give the Urban Dance Squad a rating of 3. I like what they're doing. We've often talked on the show about moving away from sampling and doing some actual music. And I saw this coming years ago when Run DMC and the Beastie Boys first burst onto the scene with a lot of rock music, to the beatbox and the rapping. I said, why don't they have a real rock band and rappers? Make it more versatile, it'd be very musical, and it'd be interesting. I think we're going to see more of that as the decade progresses.
Well, Scott, you're so innovative, and you think so far ahead of the future. You're just way ahead of your time.
Thank you.
I'm going to give them a rating of 3.5 because their music is very interesting, and I would probably give it a lower rating only because I want to see what they look like. It's really piqued my curiosity. I want to see what you look like. Send me a picture. Write me a letter.
Well, hopefully they'll come out of hiding soon enough when they get some attention with this record, which I think they will because, it does stand out. The only thing is, it's the kind of record that's going to make radio programmers, scratch their head and go, what do we do with this? We can't play this. It's not rock. It's not rap. It's what the heck is it?
Well, we won't talk about radio on this show. We're not going to do that.
Okay, well, that closes out our records for this show. There are a couple of topics in the news of late. Actually, one that's been talked about so much, almost like being a dead horse at this point. But what do you think of the controversy that's been swirling around?
Labeling?
Yeah, labeling of records.
Well, I have two sides of it. I mean, from one standpoint, I can understand why parents want to have the labels records because, if you've got young kids, they're very much influenced by their peers, and they do listen to a lot of music. If they don't get it in the record store, they'll have somebody's brother.
Yeah, but isn't it a violation of the First Amendment?
Well, it's a violation of the First Amendment on the one hand. However, if you label the record, okay, at least what you're doing is you're giving people an opportunity to say, no, I'm not going to buy this. You're not saying we're taking it off the market.
Fine. I can understand some form of labeling, but the, a lot of the Florida cities in Florida and stuff like that, they've made it a misdemeanor for anyone to buy the record in particular.
Arrested.
Right, the record in particular that started all was Two Live Crew, As Nasty as They Want to Be on Luke Skywalker Records.
And they are.
Well, sure. But they've made it a misdemeanor for adults to buy it and a felony if you sell it to someone who's under 18. It's just getting a little out of hand, I think.
Yeah, well, see, I don't buy that. I mean, why would you arrest somebody because they're going to sell a record? It's the parents' job to police that. I don't think the record stores or the owners or whatever should, be arrested because of that.
Right, well, they say it's disseminating obscene materials. So we say, cool out and just, label records if it has to be that way. But for God's sake, it's...
Chill, okay?
Next topic is CD packaging. It seems that the packaging of CDs is very wasteful. What do you think of that?
Well, it is wasteful, and I was just reading about it, I mean, what do you do with all this stuff? You've got this long box, and you've got this little thing inside, and you tear it off and throw it in the garbage. How are you going to recycle all of this? Especially with Earth Day we've just had recently,
Well, the main reason they do it, of course, is to try to keep people from stealing them because it's a more cumbersome package and harder to conceal and all that, but there's got to be a better way because those packages also, they cost a couple of dollars extra to the consumer. You eliminate that package, get cheaper CDs, hopefully, and, save the environment. I never liked that packaging system.
Well, they also use the reasoning behind that it fills up the bins because now they're not selling LPs, they're selling these small little things. If you have this box that fits there, you can fit two of them
Right,
side
well,
by
they're
side.
saying that the visual aesthetic appeal of that package attracts people more, but there's another way.
Well, we all know how,
Okay, we're going to wind it down. Not quite sure what we're going to have for you next week as of yet, as of tape time, but we'll have something darn good. But do keep on the lookout in the near future. There's going to be albums from Soul to Soul. Jeff Healy's got a new one coming with Traveling Wilbury members George Harrison and Jeff Lynne.
And Bootsy.
guesting.
Bootsy's coming back on the scene in a big way.
Yeah, Bootsy coming under the name Bootsy's Rubber Band again.
Right.
So again, that together, that's going to be on Island Records, and that's going to be coming. So we'll see you here again next week. For Platter Chatter, I'm Scott Goldfine.
I'm Malissia Simpson, and we're going to say bye-bye. Thanks
Night.
for watching.